What is up, guys, and welcome back to part 38 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Japanese Grand Prix. If you missed season 1 and of course the first 16 rounds of this second season, then you can go click the little card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens to go catch up with everything that has happened over this career mode so far. But we're here at the Japanese Grand Prix, and this is a track that I absolutely love. I love the flow of it. I love sector 1. If you can get that sector absolutely perfect, then it just feels amazing. It feels so good. However, we aren't actually very good at this circuit. We may enjoy it, but we're not actually that good at it. So that's a little bit unfortunate, because last season and in season 1 we got 10th place. It wasn't a good result for us, and I'm not really expecting too much of a good result. I reckon if we can get the top 6, then that'll be a good result for me here today. But we're just gonna have to wait and see how we do at this Japanese Grand Prix as we head over to the practice sessions.
Welcome to Suzuka in Japan, where today's practice session is about to begin on this figure-of-8 circuit. The Suzuka track never disappoints, and that's probably why it's so loved by drivers and fans alike. One of the more intimidating corners on any Formula One track is the legendary 130R. Whilst unusual, the name actually comes from the original design of the corner, a 130-metre radius turn starting just past the track crossover. Over the years, due to several severe accidents, the corner's been redesigned to create a straighter entry and creating what is now a double apex left-handed corner.
Despite the changes, this is still one of the most exhilarating corners that drivers in F1 have to take. It's not normally considered an overtaking spot, but this is the scene of one of Fernando Alonso's most famous manoeuvres, when in 2005 he passed Michael Schumacher's Ferrari around the outside.
Here we are then in the first practice session, just going through the track acclimatization at the moment, round the final corner, down towards the line. It's good enough for a purple score. Yes, it is. 535 resource points to spend next season, but that's really, really good to get a purple score, especially after doing so badly at the Malaysian Grand Prix in the practice objectives. But here we are around the final corner once again, this time doing the tyre wear management, and as you can see on your screens, purple throughout every single lap. 105 out of 105 there, and that's even more resource points to put in the bank for next season if we stay with Renault. We're not too sure about whether we stay or whether we will switch teams. But that was the end of FP1. Down in 20th position, not the best of scores. You can see there we did actually run on the soft tyres. That's because we did the qualifying one, but unfortunately we could not get the time that the team wanted. So not the best of results in terms of one lap pace, but we do tend to do better across the race, you know, looking after the tyres and stuff like that. So hopefully that's what we can do here at today's Japanese Grand Prix. But without any further ado, let's head over to the qualifying session.
Welcome to Japan and the impressive Suzuka track for today's qualifying session, where we should be underway shortly.
Here we are in today's qualifying session, and getting out of Q1 into Q2 should be easy, but I'm not too sure how easy it is going to be. We didn't do too well in the practice objective in terms of qualifying, so our one lap pace isn't the best around here, so we're going to have to really try and improve that in this qualifying session to try and get a good result. But we're going to head out on track, get through Q1 into Q2 and really see what we can do from there. Here we are then out on track for our first lap around this Japanese Grand Prix circuit. It's not been the best of laps at the moment. Down towards the start finish line, DRS open, now cross the line. It's a 1:35.513, better than what we did in practice, but it's still only good enough for 10th position on the grid. We should be able to improve on our next lap, and here we are going down in towards the hairpin at the moment. There you can see 1 whole second quicker halfway through the lap, so we're definitely on to go beat our previous best time through this long right hander. Now just getting onto the grass, losing the back end all over the place. We've gone into the barrier, a huge spin in qualifying, just not spinning, not stopping at the moment, spinning all the way around, and unfortunately that was the end of that lap. We had to go again later on in the session. Luckily we didn't damage the car too much, but our second lap was 5 tenths down, which means that we are not going to get into Q2. Once again, get it onto the grass, losing the back end, coming across the line, and we are only good enough for 20th on the grid, right to the back of the field, and that means that the race is going to be so difficult from back there. We've got so many back markers that we need to get past, and we don't even know whether we'll be competitive. We don't even know whether we're going to be fast around the circuit or not, so this could be a real struggle in today's Japanese Grand Prix to just get points in the race. But we're going to do our best and see what we can do. Elsewhere, Jolyon Palmer, he gets through, but this isn't actually the end position, so we're not going to talk about that too much. But down in 20th position, losing out on Q2 by 5 tenths of a second. That is really, really frustrating. Really frustrating that we could not get into Q2. But nevertheless, we're going to try our hardest to perform really, really well in the race and try and get back up into the points. So, let's see how we do in the race for the Japanese Grand Prix.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a Drivers' Championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. As the drivers complete their preparations down below us on the grid, one man who's no stranger to the pre-race pressure is Anthony Davidson, who joins me in the commentary box today. Great to have you with us, Ant. I'm sure you can tell us all about what goes through a driver's head before lights out.
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn one. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With 5 races remaining, we're still in with a chance of taking the Constructors' Championship. The team need a result from you today.
It's race day here at the Japanese Grand Prix, starting down in 20th position. A really, really disappointing result, but that does mean that we're going to be making loads of overtakes in this race, so hopefully it will be really, really exciting. But looking at the race strategy for today's race, starting on the mediums, pitting for another set of mediums, and then going on to the hards by the end of the race. Or do we want to go for a set of softs hards? I'm not too sure at the moment. I think we're going to go for the mediums, then another set of mediums, and then the hards, and try and make those mediums last for as long as possible, and see if we can do maybe a one-stopper or use softs at the end of the race instead of the hards. But here we are, getting away for the formation lap, right to the back of the field, so we have to let everybody in front of us go. It's only really Felipe Nasr and I think the other Sauber of Marcus Ericsson behind us. Here we are, getting away for the formation lap. Just going to start to warm up our brakes, warm up our tyres, and make sure that we are nice and perfect, ready for the start of the race. Rio Haryanto going very, very slowly there on the left-hand side. But here we are on the starting grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. Light 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's an average start compared to Rio Haryanto and Valtteri Bottas, but looks like we got a good second phase of the start compared to those two going down in towards turn one. We're very, very cautious at the moment. Looks like there may be a collision down in towards turn one. There's definitely been a collision in towards turn one as we have come to a complete stop. It looks like Lewis Hamilton and the Force India of Sergio Perez have both been involved. Not too sure how that happened as they were nowhere near each other at the start of the race on the starting grid, so not too sure how that has come about. On board with Lewis Hamilton at the moment, going down in towards turn one. So he's had a great start compared to Danny Kvyat and Jolyon Palmer. Squeezes it in between both those two down towards turn one, and he just gets pinned. He just gets pinned by Danny Kvyat and Jolyon Palmer, sent into a spin. And then Sergio Perez, what happens to him? He just drives straight into the side of Lewis Hamilton, gets a puncher, and then he reverses out in front of Rio Haryanto, who loses a big chunk of his front wing. That's really going to help us in our race because Rio Haryanto is the guy behind us, but unfortunately Valtteri Bottas has now got past the Manor driver. But here we are on lap 3, right behind Jenson Button at the moment, having a little look up the inside into the hairpin, and side by side with the McLaren driver. Great power slide out of the hairpin, and there we go, up into P15, and up next for us is Nico Hulkenberg. We'll be looking to get past him within the next couple of corners, and we arrive his tail going in towards the spoon curve up the inside, and there we go, great move up the inside of Nico Hulkenberg up into P14, and up next for us is Roman Grosjean. So like I said, we are going to be making overtakes in this race. We started way down in 20th position and do expect to see a lot more overtakes than this as the race goes on. We're catching up to Roman Grosjean through 130R at the moment, down in towards the chicane. Jolyon Palmer in the pits at the moment, into the chicane, right behind the Haas driver. Set myself up maybe for an overtake down the start-finish straight. Is coming into pits? No, he is not. So we are going to have DRS on the Haas driver down the start-finish straight. Jolyon Palmer in the pits at the moment, so we will go up into P13 anyway. And can we get into P12? Yes, we can. Up the right-hand side of Romain Grosjean, down in towards turn 1. And up next for us is Pascal Wehrlein for P11. And then it start to think about how we're going to get into the points in this race. We are right behind Pascal Wehrlein at the moment, going down in towards 130 yard. Can we get the job done through the left hander? We've got the job done before we've even got to 130 yard. Running a little bit wide there on exit, but not too much. So we're not really going to think about giving that position back. But we are up into P11 now. Up next for us is Fernando Alonso. But there's a few guys in the pits. We should gain some more positions. Look like Pascal Wehrlein might be having a look to go for an overtake down in towards turn 1. We're up into P8 at the moment. Pascal Wehrlein can't find a way through around the outside, and we hold on to 8th position in this race. Couple more drivers in the pits right now, and that bumps us up into P5 in this Japanese Grand Prix, from 20th to P5 in this race. A fantastic result. A couple of laps later, on to lap 7 now, and here we are up into P2. So we are just gaining and gaining positions in this race. Max Verstappen currently leading the Grand Prix, and here we are on lap 7 at the moment, on board with the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, who is right behind us on the track, following in the slipstream, using the DRS. Is he going to go to the left hand side? No, he does a switch back over to the right hand side, down in towards turn 1. Looks like he's got the inside line and got the job done into the corner, but we have a little look up the inside. Can we get it through? No, we can't. There's a little bit of a bumping between the two of us, but no damage on the front wing. And Pascal Wehrlein currently leads the Japanese Grand Prix. We're right behind Pascal Wehrlein once again, going through the chicane, looking up the around the outside into the chicane, but Pascal Wehrlein just sort of blocks that off. It's coming into pits on lap 8. Yes, he is, and there we are, up into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix, from 20th on the grid up into the lead on lap 8. That is absolutely fantastic at the moment. So we're on board with Jolyon Palmer going through the hairpin at the moment. He's right on our tails, so you know we are on a different strategy to our teammate, and we do not want to hold him up because he is technically racing for the lead against Kimi Räikkönen, who is my championship rival. So I would prefer Jolyon Palmer to win this race than Kimi Räikkönen. So we are going to let through Jolyon Palmer on this next straight. He should get the slipstream, so we're going to give him the inside line, and we're just going to back out of 130. I'll make sure that he gets the best line through there, and he gets the lead of the race. But Jolyon Palmer at the moment not going for the overtake, but then we back out, run it wide, and there we go, easily allowing Jolyon Palmer the lead of the race. Now we need to hold up Kimi Räikkönen, make sure Jolyon Palmer gets a good run out in front of us, down in towards turn 1 or something like that, and he's coming into pits. Jolyon Palmer is coming into the pits. So we did all of that. We slowed down for Jolyon Palmer for him just to come into the pits. Thank you, team, for letting me know that Jolyon Palmer was coming into the pits this lap. That is so annoying that we slowed down for him and he just comes into the pits. But here we are on lap 11. We've made these tyres last 11 laps in this race, and coming into the pits for our first pit stop in this Japanese Grand Prix. We'll be looking for maybe a quick pit stop here in today's race. Hopefully down in the 2-second margins, and try and get out in front, well, in some clear space, so we don't have anybody to try and have to overtake when we come out of the pits. But coming out now, there's a Ferrari getting past. I think that's a Red Bull as well getting through. No, it's a manner of, I think, probably Pascal Wehrlein, who pitted earlier on in the race. He did the undercut, but I think he's doing more pit stops than us in this race. Here we are out in some fresh air at the moment on lap 12, and now we can really try and put in some decent laps to try and catch up to the guys ahead of us and maybe get back into the points. We're right behind Carlos Sainz at the moment on lap 14 in 13th position, moving over to the right hand side so much quicker than the Toro Rosso in a straight line, and through there before we've even got to the spoon curve. I'm not too sure the name of the corner that we actually overtook on, but there we go, up into P12, and up next for us is Pascal Wehrlein in the manner, who is currently in 9th position. We've been bumped up after a couple of other guys have gone into the pits as well. Following in the slipstream of the Manor driver, going down in towards 130 yard. We'll be able to go for a look in towards this corner. It's going to be very, very late. Up the inside, can we do it? Yes, we can. What a fantastic move there, up the inside of 130 yard. Literally had to dive it up the inside at the last possible moment to get the job done, and we're up into P9 in this Japanese Grand Prix. And up next for us is Max Verstappen, who is now at the battle for P4 after more drivers have come into pits. Going up the inside in towards the first Degner curve, squeezing out Max Verstappen, who runs it wide on the exit of the corner in towards the second Degner. We've got the job done, kind of giving Max Verstappen a taste of his own medicine after what he's been doing to other drivers in real life. But we are back up into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix here on lap 19. We've got a couple of laps left to go before we come into pits for our next pit stop. But here we are on lap 20. Nico Rosberg right behind us on those hard tyres. He's probably going to go for a one-stop in this race. I think he is actually doing a one-stop, but he's going to make these hard tyres last till the end of the race. But following behind me in the slipstream at the moment, we're going to try it around the outside in towards 130. I am going to give him the space. I am going to give him the room. Nico Rosberg still holding it, but it can't quite get the job done through 130R into the chicane, just sort of holding behind still for the time being. Very, very close to my gearbox right now in this Japanese Grand Prix. And Nico Rosberg possibly having a look down in towards turn 1. He will have DRS and he will have slipstream. Pulling over to the right-hand side, and it's an easy move for the Mercedes down in towards turn 1. They're so quick in a straight line, and he's giving us room up the inside, so we could get a position back down in towards turn 2. But unfortunately, the better tyre wear that the Mercedes has at this stage of the race gives him great drive out of the corner and means that he can hold on to the lead of the race. And here we are coming into pits on lap 21 for our second pit stop in the race, and what will be our last pit stop in today's race, going on to the soft tyres, and we should be able to make these last till the end of the race. I mean, there's not many laps left to go, so the soft tyres should definitely last till the end of the race right now. So coming out of the pits, a couple of guys getting past us down the start-finish straight, and not too sure whereabouts we're going to come out. Are we going to come out in fresh air once again? I think we are going to be coming out in some clean air, which we do. A lot of guys quite far behind us and a lot of guys quite far in front of us, so that's pretty good for us. It means we've got a lot of fresh air, and means we can put in some really decent laps to try and catch up to the guys who are currently ahead of us. I think I've dropped outside the points at the moment, but we'll be looking to get straight back in to the points later on in the race. We're on board with Nico Hülkenberg at the moment. He's going to try and have a look for a move on Max Verstappen down in towards turn 1, following in the slipstream and the DRS right now, going down in towards turn 1. He's got the inside line. It's side by side in towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? There's contact between the two of them. They force each other off of the track, and Max Verstappen has come to a stop on the edge of turn 1. He's getting going once again, but the safety car has been deployed in this Japanese Grand Prix. A bit of a surprise that the safety car has come out because of that, but nevertheless, that's really going to help us in this race. I mean, it's going to take away a couple of laps for us, but it means that the pack is going to be bunched up once again. I'm currently in P8, which is a good position for us. It means some decent points, but still, if we can get some really, really good points in this race, we could possibly overtake Fernando Alonso after the safety car, then this could be really, really decent for us. And here we are on lap 25. Safety car is in, and the race will be getting away any moment now through the chicane at the moment, and we are green. We are going once again, following behind Fernando Alonso down in towards turn 1. We'll be looking to try and get past him. Tyre regulation select A. I'm not too sure what on earth that is about. We've used both two sets of tyre compounds, so we should be fine. We've used the softs and we've used two sets of the mediums, so that is fine. You know, that is within the regulations, so hopefully that's just a bit of a glitch and that doesn't actually do anything to our race. We are right behind Fernando Alonso at the moment, who's currently in P7. We'll be looking to get past him. If we can get past Kimi Raikkonen as well, that'd be really, really decent, because obviously we will gain more points than him in the championship as we run it wide just before the Dunlop curve, and that allows Danny Kvyat to have a look up the inside in towards that corner. It's side by side at the moment into the first Degner. Can we hold it around the outside? We're certainly going to try it, which we do, into the second Degner, still holding it around the outside of Danny Kvyat. Side by side action at the moment down towards the hairpin. Who's going to come out on top between us two? He's got the move done for the time being, but we shoot it back up the inside. Danny Kvyat will get a great drive from taking a wider line through that hairpin, so he is going to be quicker through this straight. But if we can just hold it side by side, we could possibly get the job done into the spoon curve. Side by side at the moment through the spoon curve, and there we go, job done, and remaining P8 for the time being. But now we need to push like hell to try and catch up to Fernando Alonso and possibly get a move done by the end of the race. Danny Kvyat still very much right on our tail. We're looking on the left-hand side at the moment in towards 130. He's not got the move done, unfortunately for him, but down in towards the chicane right now, following very, very closely to Fernando Alonso within like a second. So we should get DRS down this next straight. If not, we can definitely push through the S section to try and get the job done on the final lap. So here we are. Wait, what? Why have we been disqualified? Why have we been disqualified? That is absolutely ridiculous that we've been disqualified from the race, despite actually running both sets of compounds. That is really, really annoying, and I don't know how that's happened. It's unfortunately a glitch with the game, I guess, but that is really annoying.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari.
So unfortunately, a stupid glitch with the game has meant that we've been disqualified from the Japanese Grand Prix. I think the disqualification was for not using the mandatory set of tyres that the FIA want you to use, which in this race would be the mediums and the hards, and we use the mediums. We used them twice in this race, so I'm guessing what they thought was, because I put it on more of a, I think I even put it on balance, but I'm pretty sure I put it on the harder softer, the harder compound in terms of tyres of the weekend. So I'm guessing that's what they meant, because I did the high compounds. The two hard tyres were the mandatory sets, which is really, really annoying. And unfortunately, we have been disqualified because of a stupid glitch with the game. But nevertheless, Sebastian Vettel, he wins today's race with Nico Rosberg in second. A great third place for Jolyon Palmer, still getting some good points for the team. Lewis Hamilton finishing fourth, with Kimi Räikkönen, my rival, gaining 10 points on me in the championship. That brings the gap down to 75 points, I believe, in the championship. Danny Ricciardo finishes in sixth, with Nico Hülkenberg seventh, and Fernando Alonso in eighth. I believe Danny Kvyat probably finished in ninth, with another Force India, I think, of Sergio Perez finishing in 10th. I'm not too sure on that because it went too quickly for me to read. But we finished down in 22nd position after a stupid disqualification from the race. It wasn't actually Sergio Perez who finished in 10th, because he's down in 21st position. So not too sure who finished 10th. I think I'm not even going to take a guess because I don't actually know. But 22nd position in the race, really, really frustrating to get disqualified for a stupid reason. This is really going to affect us big time in the championship, because the gap between me and Kimi Räikkönen is now 75 points. I could have won the championship at this Japanese Grand Prix. I can still win the championship at the American Grand Prix next time out, but it's going to be actually a lot easier. All we have to do in the American Grand Prix is finish higher than Kimi Räikkönen, because if he scores less points than us, that means that we have won the Drivers' World Championship. So hopefully we go on to do that. And yeah, I'm not too sure at the moment. It might be a bit difficult because, you know, it is still a tough ask just to beat Kimi Räikkönen. But, you know, if we can still score points in that race, that means that it should be pretty much a done deal in the Mexican Grand Prix. But let's have a look at how it affects us in the Constructors' standings. And that race has meant that we have lost our lead over Ferrari. The gap is now 17 points in the championship. Jolyon Palmer getting that podium was not enough to keep the Ferraris away. They are gaining on us in the Constructors, and so are Mercedes. They are putting some really good performances right now. The gap between myself and Mercedes, well, I say myself, Renault and Mercedes, is now 82 points. So a good race in USA, and they can definitely close up that gap to probably around 50 points or something like that. But that is it for today's Japanese Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Looking at the rivalry update after today's race, I'm pretty sure that Kimi Räikkönen has beaten us in the rivalry update. Looking at it, he's got the fastest lap, so it's 29 out of 30 for Kimi Räikkönen, but I'm pretty sure he is either going to win it or we will draw after the American Grand Prix. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that one pans out. But we got really screwed over today by that disqualification after not using the two sets of tyres, even though we use mediums and softs, which is really, really annoying. But we have 1,299 resource points, which we could be using next season after we cease research and development. So there is no upgrades at today's race, but we still have a lot of resource points to hopefully spend next season. But that is it for today's Japanese Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. We're going to have this career mode coming to you every single day for the rest of Season 2. So for the last 4 races, there will be daily uploads and maybe even a double upload for the final 2 in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. And of course, if you are subscribed to me, then you never have to miss an episode. But I will see you next time at the American Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.